All right, all right, all right. Not only is today my birthday, but I got to see Rebel Moon in Los Angeles, California at the Netflix Egyptian Theater. And I gotta say, this is a non-spoiler review. Obviously, this was the PG-13 one that came out, and it was 2 hours and about 20 minutes. And the R one, which is an additional hour of footage, I believe, or 54 minutes or something like that, will come out on Netflix when it comes out. I believe it's next week. So that will be my spoiler review that day, as there is a lot more information, a lot more to go over, a lot more what happens, and so on and so forth. Take in mind, this is part one of a 2-part movie. So, without further ado, did Rebel Moon suck, or was it amazing? Let's go. All right, so first up, characters. Now, there's something we need to talk about, and I feel like this is very, very, very crucial that a lot of people don't know. And I have the character list in front of me because there are a lot of characters in this film. Zack Snyder takes the time to introduce you a character and then add it with an action scene for the most part, or something that's juicy that sucks you right back in. He is one of the very few directors that actually does that, and no matter what the character, they all are cool and are all dove into and are all strong leads. It's not like Marvel, where you have Captain Marvel in her film, then you have weak Nick Fury, or you have like Captain America and then you have weak Peggy Carter, and you have, I don't know how to explain it. Like, he makes every character strong and really good looking. It's like all his other movies, 300, everything. They all look good. And essentially, Korra, the main character, is realistically, in my opinion, I would say this is so much of a Star Wars film, it's scary. And people are going to say, wait, there was no lightsabers. Lightsabers isn't what determines Star Wars. Yes, it's something that's added in to make Star Wars cool, but it is not what determines Star Wars. Imagine this, hear me out. Big space battles, awesome effects, huge explosions, and amazing characters shrouded in mystery, and also hoods. When I say hoods, I mean wearing the physical hood, the walk, the way the Jedis do, everything like that. It's all there. Korra literally is out of the page of Darth Revan or Kyle Katarn or characters like that. Like a villain who will essentially, kind of like Gamora too. Little girl, family killed, becomes a villain, turns to good as the resistance. You have other characters like Kai, a mysterious character that you find out there's a lot of stuff to him later. I can't say anything without spoiling Kai. Admiral Atticus, the villain. Amazing character that made you feel scared, made you feel threatened when he was on the scenes. His presence alone, what he did, he had the stick that he would use. Like, the first time you meet him, he is evil. This is an evil man. And a villain is good and determined by if you actually physically hate that character. When you actually like hated the Green Goblin in Spider-Man. This man does the same thing. Maybe not as so much the level of William Dafoe, because that's William Dafoe, but he's pretty close to that. Like, and when I say that, I'm not comparing the two actors. I'm just saying how good his character is. Anthony Hopkins, he had a good role too. I'll just say he played the robot Jimmy. You've seen him in the thing. He's got the antlers and whatnot. Once again, can't mention much about him, but he has a great detailed story. Ray Fisher, Darian Bloodaxe, great character. Can't go into them. A lot of these characters I can't go into without giving you anything. Gunner is essentially the love interest of Korra. Still, I would say he's a little bit less developed, but he's still a good character. Titus, which is played by Djimon. You guys know him from the one who says, "Who?" in Guardians of the Galaxy when Star-Lord's talking. Sorry if I butchered his name. I don't know all the actors' actual physical names, but he played Titus. Nemesis, the one with the physical swords. She is so sweet. They're all great characters. They're all different backgrounds. Titus is like a war general, and Nemesis gave up her arms so she could wield these swords and defend people. Korra, evil turned good, rebellion. Kai, like a loner kind of, all these characters, they're great. They all different. Tarek, he essentially is the guy you've seen in it. He kind of has like the long hair, he's shirtless, and he tames a griffin. So much of this is so character driven and character developed. It's insane. Like, it's so good. Everything in this 2 hour and 20 minutes, it just gives you enough that you're like, okay, they're all developed while giving us awesome scenes. CGI, lens flares, awesome sceneries, amazing shots using practical effects and CGI. George Lucas Star Wars level perfection. I will say at the beginning when you watch it, you kind of go, because the way that the light works with the daytime, which was a little weird to me, I will nod it down for that. But besides that, like, once again, perfect to the T. 5 out of 5. 5 out of 5 visuals, 5 out of 5 characters, story. How did the story go? How well was it developed? Gears of War meets Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic meets, like, I don't know, someone was saying Lord of the Rings. It's just perfect. Imagine having a film where the character starts a rebellion against the big army, right? And they say, okay, we're going to have to gather people to build a resistance team, kind of like Rogue One. They go around different places, different planets, building up these characters. Titus is like a hobo who was a general who kind of got out because he lost his crew. You know, Nemesis, once again, defending in the dark alleys, really look like Star Wars, like in the undergrounds. And then, you know, you have all these other characters. You meet Kai in like a Western kind of saloon. And my biggest thing with this is every character is strong. None of them come off weak. None of them come off pathetic. Yes, some have big muscles. Yes, some look like old and worn down. Some, you know, and they all look really good. There's a thing that Marvel does, and I've just recently saw this. Josh, Den of Nerds, my boy, talked about this, and he said Marvel looks like the women are kind of wearing trash bags. Like they're a little bit afraid to show a little bit of skin. Now, as a comic book accurate kind of thing, you know, Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman looked good, showed some skin, but didn't really make it like, oh my gosh, you know? The same way with this film. He just does it right. Marvel needs to learn from Snyder. Like, I'm not even trying to say that. You know, this movie ends. I would say it was a cliffhanger, but it's not really a cliffhanger. It's just like the next part of the next story. Obviously, there's going to be a second part. And for that, it was so well done. It made me want more. You get to the end and you're like, with a huge battle at the end, and you know, a character you think is dead that's not dead, and this and that and this, and you learn more about this character, and you see a character again that you're like, oh dang, you know, and you just won't expect it. And then Zach talked about that cornfield at the end. 300 reminiscent fields. Amazing. I have to say, this film is perfect. I don't know what these critics watched, and I'm getting really tired of Rotten Tomatoes judgment because Rotten Tomatoes is garbage. Sorry to say it, they're garbage. If you're giving an action movie, give it to somebody who likes action movies. Don't give it to 70-year-old people who are just watching films because they need a paycheck. Don't give it to just random people like IGN who rate everything. International Gaming Network. Why are they reviewing movies? Like stuff like that. Like this was an action, fast-paced, amazing, rebellious film. That's what it was. I would give it a 20 out of 10 if I could. But if I'm being realistic, I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10. Because to me, it was perfection. And when you see this film, if you don't like it, I would like you to comment and I would like to know why. Because personally, for me, a huge Star Wars fan, a huge comic book reader, everything. The lore, the cinematics, I was going to say the graphics, the cinematography, the photography, the action sequences, the effects, the practical and the CGI, it all was perfect. The worlds, all these different worlds, everything feeling different, every character seeming like they're from somewhere else in the galaxy, in the universe. They did what Disney needs to do with Star Wars. Like, what Filoni has been trying to do is what Zack Snyder is doing. Like, don't get me wrong. I love Filoni stuff. I love the Clone Wars. I love Star Wars. I love Disney. I love Marvel. But they're not on Snyder's level. And he does not deserve the hate he's getting. Sorry. It is what it is. I love the film. 10 out of 10 from me.